Welcome to the Between Classes podcast. This is Isabel, and today we have Erica Weber, who is an admissions ambassador here at SDSU, joining us. Erica, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to be here.
So Erica's just going to kind of tell us what it's like to be an admissions ambassador and maybe give us some university fun facts that she enjoys telling new students who come to campus. So Erica, what do you do as an admissions ambassador?
So as an admissions ambassador for SDSU, we have a lot of different roles. The primary role of our position is giving those tours when prospective students come to visit SDSU. So they'll come, do their visit, meet with a counselor, meet with someone from the academic area, and then really that last thing is doing that tour. So we bring them around campus, show them different things that are really going to be important to them when they become a student at SDSU. Besides that, we do a lot of events off of campus. We'll go to high schools and meet with students. We go and really just do any recruiting thing that the admissions office does. And if they need us, we're there for them. So really just providing that student's perspective for potential students just to get some insight on what it's like to be a jackrabbit.
So if someone here at SDSU, or maybe even a student who had you as their tour guide, was looking at becoming an admissions ambassador, what is that process like? Is there an application? Do you have to be nominated? Maybe get some recommendations? What is that process like?
So it's not a nomination type application at all. The application comes out in the spring. It will have posters around campus that kind of say what the position is, and then we like to have some info sessions that students can go to, learn about the position and kind of really what it's all about before they apply. They filled an application. We do require a reference. I don't know if it's one or two references, but one or two from a staff or someone who you previously had a job from, something like that. And then we contact you for interviews. Our interviews are on campus and they are about 20 minutes long. You'll interview typically with two staff members from the admissions office and then admissions ambassadors like myself as well. So usually you'll have 2 to 4 ambassadors at a time, but really the questions are just based around your experience at SDSU. We really just want to hear about you, so that way we know kind of what you would bring to our team and how you would interact with a prospective student. So it's a pretty laid back interview process. You hear a couple weeks later if you would get the position, and then you would start the following fall.
So if someone went through that process, do you have a tip that you would give them to, get through the interview or maybe the application? Is there something that you would say, I highly recommend doing this to maybe increase their potential to become an admissions ambassador? Yeah,
as far as the interview process goes, I think it's just the most important to just be yourself. So we might ask you some questions that are like tour-based or like situation-based questions, like, if you were on tour and this happened, how would you handle this? And I think a lot of students get really nervous, like, oh my gosh, I don't really know. And we're not really looking for a correct answer necessarily. We just kind of want to see what you would say, because at the end of the day, we're going to train you with how we want you to handle certain situations and stuff. So the most important is be yourself. Talk about why you love SDSU, because if you do get the position, the whole job is really talking about yourself and your school, just to put a student, for them to be able to see themselves through your experience at SDSU. So really, it sounds cheesy, but just be yourself.
So off of that, then what are maybe some skills that you think would be good for an admissions ambassador to carry? Maybe it's good speaking skills or just easy to approach. What's something that you think is pretty valuable for them to have?
Yeah, so the two you just mentioned, for sure, you have to be able to communicate, have to be comfortable with communicating, because you're going to be communicating with people that you do not know. So just communicating with those students, with their families, is huge. Another thing I would say is just being adaptable. Every tour is going to be a little bit different. You want to be able to adapt it to that family to provide them exactly what they're looking for. And along with that, just being really involved is super important. It's hard for us to take ambassadors that don't have experience on our campus, because they're not going to be able to talk about opportunities and student life things. So getting involved that freshman year, trying things out, having experiences, good or bad, that you can talk about is super important.
Right. So then are freshmen able to apply, or is this only older, junior, seniors that they encourage a little bit more since they have more experience?
Yep, so freshmen can apply that spring. So the earliest you can start is your sophomore year if you'd get accepted that freshman year. We definitely do have freshmen that get accepted starting their sophomore year. For example, I started my sophomore year and I'm on my third year as an ambassador now. But I would say that students that are like applying as a sophomore might have a better chance just because they have those more opportunities and stuff like that. But we definitely do not discourage freshmen from applying at all because they can be just as valuable to our team as an older student.
So with that, do you get compensation for all the time that you put into that position?
Yep. So this position is a paid position. You get paid hourly like any other job. All students are welcome to apply, and we do accept work-study students as well.
What would be your favorite thing, or what do you think is the best thing about being an admissions ambassador?
So I think the role we play in students on their college search process is so important. As a student, when I was a senior looking at different schools, really just getting that student perspective was so crucial for me, just to able to see someone else's experience at the school. So I think that role is huge. On a different perspective, I just think the experience that I've gained through all the other admissions ambassadors is crazy. There's about 50 of us and just such a wide variety of people, people of different majors, from different backgrounds, of different interests. And really, as a nursing student on campus, I'm with 64 females on a regular basis. So just to be with other people from different backgrounds, there's so many cool people on our campus, and a lot of them are an admissions ambassador. And I've just really met so many amazing people that I wouldn't have met if it wasn't for the position.
Yeah, when I came here, my admissions ambassador actually became my advisor. So now she's my advisor, and she was one of the reasons that I fell in love with the campus. And then just to see it come full circle and to still get to know her, that was really awesome. So they make a huge impact. What do they do to work with student schedules? Because obviously you're a student first, and that's why you're getting this position. But is it helpful that it is an on-campus job and that it can kind of flex around your classes and other things?
Yeah, for sure. So the admissions office is great at understanding that we are students first, and really we thrive as an office when we are successful as the admissions ambassadors. So how that works is over the summer, as we're getting ready for a new school year, we send in our schedules to our bosses. So basically all those class schedules, and then also time. For example, I'm in the Chi Omega sorority, so any times that would be regular for that as well, I would send in, as well as any other student who would have a similar, set schedule like that. So we send that in, and then from there they look at everyone's schedules, and you are assigned a set tour time every week based on your schedule. So for example, mine right now is Thursdays at 2 p.m. So Thursdays at 2 p.m. And really they want the hour before and hour after. I'm free and I go and work every time that week. And it's also great because you have that set schedule every week. But for example, if I would have something pop up, we have a handy dandy Facebook page where I just hop on and I'm like, hey guys, can anyone take my tour at 2 p.m. this Thursday? And it's really great. We're all there for each other, taking each other's tours because we know that things pop up. So they're really great at working with your schedule. And like for on Fridays, we have full day events. So anytime we're not in class, we're expected to be working at the event. They're called Jackrabbit Previews. So same thing, if you class from 8 to 9, you would just go to class at that time and then come back when you are available. So they're really great at working with your schedule.
What's your favorite part of campus to show new students when you're on a tour?
So there's a lot of things that I like showing on campus. To mention a couple, I love showing our residence halls. I think being able to see like, oh my gosh, this is where I'd live is just really fun to kind of see how they react when they see our residence halls. Our non-traditional halls or our newer ones like Ben Rifle, they're really impressive buildings. So it's really fun for families to, maybe went on another previous campus tour and just be like, oh my gosh, this is such a nice place. It's really fun to hear words like that. And I love showing the wellness center. Something that I, really never fully appreciate until I take families on tour because they are blown away at our wellness center. They think it's amazing. They love walking around. We do a full walk through the whole building, and honestly, it kind of takes a while because they're oohing and gooing over everything. So that's a really fun area to show. And then my final favorite is, if you guys are aware of this, we have a 3D map in our library, and that's part of our tour. We go to the map and kind of show the families, where we've walked on on tour where different things are outlined, kind of show them the different areas of campus and why things are laid out where they are. And that's fun because it just kind of really shows them like, oh, where we've been, makes it, I think when you're on those tours, you get really lost and confused. So even though that's nothing like crazy, it's really cool for them to be able to see like where everything's lined up and stuff.
I can tell from your excitement how passionate you are about SDSU and this job. And I think that's really contagious and awesome for those students to get that same feeling when they're on a tour with you.
For sure.
What are some fun facts that you like to share on campus? I mean, there's some different quirks and things about a university that some people might not know. So what are some of those fun facts that you share?
Yes, there's lots of different fun facts that we give on tour. I love to talk about the campanile. For sure, fun facts about, it's 160 feet tall. How many stairs do you think it's to the top? We actually have a record for how fast someone got to the top. What do you think that record is? Just silly stuff like that. I love talking about Hobo Day because as a Nebraskan myself, when I came to campus, I had never heard of Hobo Day, and I was like, what in the world is this? I kind of think it took me like 3 times to get the Hobo Day spiel for me to fully understand it, but that's always fun to explain to families and just see their reactions when I talk about bumma meal and stuff like that. Einstein's Bagel, fun fact about that, we're like the highest gross income Einsteins on a college campus in the US, so always love to mention that we love our bagels, kind of fun, but just things like that are silly fun facts that I love to share with families.
So what are some of those common questions that you get asked a lot from prospective students? They're all kind of looking and having the same idea in their head, so maybe just to kind of knock some of those out now, what are some questions that you hear quite often?
Just to go over a couple of common questions that we get, a lot of students like to ask, like, what's the best residence hall to live in? That's a question we get a lot, and that question is really, I don't know if it's their favorite answer, but it's really simple for us to answer because, we have 2 types of residence halls in campus, whether it's traditional like Benowese, Young, Matthews, or non-traditional like Ben Rifle, Hyde, Honors, stuff like that. And really what we like to tell students is we tell them the differences of them. They all have the same amenities. It's just really kind of what you're looking for, whether you want, from my personal experience, I lived in Ben Rifle and it was awesome and it felt super homey, but it was definitely like a lot calmer of an environment. It wasn't as social as like when I'd go visit my friends at Benowese. So I kind of just tell them things like that. I'm like, it's really what you're looking for. I always remind students that you have 2 years to be on campus. So if you did one thing your freshman year and want to try something different your sophomore year, you can, and that you'll have friends in all of them. So, you might live in Ben Rifle, but you might be spending quite a bit of time in Benowese with your friends. So it's hard to tell them an exact answer, but kind of just tell them it's kind of what they want it to be.
Do you have a favorite story that you like to tell students when you're on your tours?
Yeah, my favorite story, and I don't get to tell every family this, but when I do have time, I love when we walk past the barn. I love to talk about the history of the barn a little bit and talk about how we used to have our basketball games played there. And then I like to tell the story of how we used to freeze coyotes. And when we'd play USD, we would throw like a dead frozen coyote onto the court. And then I tell them that the reason we don't do that anymore is because one of our cheerleaders got hit with the dead frozen coyote and got a concussion, and we no longer can do that. So families usually love that. It's always fun, kind of funny little story that, you can just imagine this dead coyote getting thrown across the courtyard and hitting a cheerleader.
So then what has this position done to almost shape your time here or shape your time for the future? I know you said you get a lot out of it, but what are some of those things that you really think you'll take with you?
I think when I came to SDSU, I wasn't 100% sold on this was going to be the place for me. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, so a large community, and just the whole small town of Brookings kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. This is going to be different. And really just coming here, I've loved it so much more than I thought, and I think this position has really solidified that so much. I've learned so much about my university and how much we do for our students and things that don't exactly impact me, what we're doing for engineers, what we're doing for agriculture students, what we do in research, how our athletics are developing, just so many different sides that makes me really appreciate how amazing this university is and just really all that it can be for students. So that's really cool, and just meeting so many different people that will forever have an impact on me and I'll continue to be friends with after college, and just down the line as I'm meeting prospective students, I am excited to be like, let me tell you about my experience at SDSU and how much it was impactful for me, and hope to get some more Nebraskans up here in South Dakota.
Okay, so we ask 2 questions to all of our guests at the end. So I'm going to ask those to you. That first one is, what's your favorite thing about SDSU?
This is probably going to sound really cheesy, but I always say the people. I think really any place can be anything you make it to be, but the people make such a difference. So I'm someone that thrives from support and love and comfort from those around me. And SDSU has really been that and so much more for me. I came to this university not knowing a single person, and now it's like my second home, and crazy to think that in such a short period something can feel so homey, and I really think it's the people. I love walking around campus, whether I'm walking to class or on a tour, and seeing so many familiar faces, and families really love that too. But I'm like, oh, hey, Isabel, oh, hey, they love that, and I'm like, oh, that's my roommate, or oh, that's my sorority sister, or oh, I work with him. They love to see that connectedness, because that's what they hope for their student, and that's really what the student is looking for themselves. So the people are for sure my favorite part about this campus. I think we're kind of special.
What's your favorite thing then about Brookings or the community?
So my favorite thing about Brookings is the fact that it is a small town, and there's lots of small towns out there, but this has been my own personal experience with a small town. Coming from a big city, I did not understand the small town life, and I know there's a lot smaller than Brookings, but this is small for me. So really just coming here and just seeing what a small town is like, and especially the love and support that Brookings has for SDSU is really cool. And just to see, this is maybe not what my life was like growing up, but just to really appreciate what the small town is like and what it does for people, and just the love you can feel and the connectedness of the community is my favorite part. Also love all the coffee shops, because I'm there all the time studying. So got to give a shout out to the local coffee shops as well.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on the podcast today and sharing all about your experience as an admissions ambassador.
Yeah, thanks for having me.